And we are live. Hi, everyone. Come on in. We're excited about tonight. So I'm going to give people an opportunity to come on in before we get started. Make sure you don't miss anything. When you're in, just type a comment, like, share. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're here. Post a comment. Let us know. Wave. Hi, Lady Garel. I knew we were going to be first. That's Dr. Garel's biggest fan, guys.
Yes.
That is his wife. He's your favorite, I know. Good evening, everyone. When you come on in, let us know that you're here. Hi. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Come on in, guys. Let us know you're here. We're going to be getting started on time. Hi, Elder Garel. We're excited tonight. I am really excited. So I want everyone to join me in my excitement. So if you're here, blessings, Pastor Tucker. God bless you. God bless you, Pastor Tucker. We are so excited that we get to share tonight with you guys. I'm excited that my apostle, my spiritual father, and my mentor was available for tonight. So I want to give people a little more time. We are streaming live from the Coach Sharon page. We are streaming live from the Dr. Stanley Garel's Facebook page. And we also are streaming on my personal page. So you can like, share, make sure that you get the word out that the apostle is on tonight. Blessings. Come on in. We have a few more minutes before we get started. Hi, Elder. Oh, see, Elder Robinson. We'll talk about that later. Evangelist Robinson, God bless you. We're going to be getting started in a few minutes. You guys know anyone who's been on a live with me. I am very punctual. I start on time. Don't know when we're going to end though. But definitely start on time. So I wanted to give people an opportunity to make sure you get in, that you don't miss anything. This is going to be an awesome time tonight. It's going to be some nuggets, some impartation. I'm really excited about that. So again, like and share. Make sure if you're on that you share this with someone so they can get on with you as well. We have about another minute or so before we get started. Again, we are streaming live to the Dr. Stanley Garel's Facebook page. It is a public page. Please share that. We're also streaming live from the Coach Sharon's page. You can share that as well. Well, we're going to be getting started. As I stated, I am punctual and I believe that I'm going to give as much time as possible to Dr. Garel. So, for those who have never been on a live before, I am Coach Sharon, and I'm excited about the topic that I believe the Lord has given me tonight to share with the people, the importance of mentorship. And some of you who may not know, Dr. Garel is actually my mentor. He's also my spiritual father and a whole host of other things. But we really wanted to talk specifically about mentorship tonight. And so I'm going to allow him first to introduce himself before we get started and go deep dive into our conversation.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Coach Sharon. I am excited about being on with you tonight. I am Dr. Stanley Garel, if you can't tell by the name tag. I am just a simple kind of guy trying to do a big work for the kingdom of God. I am the senior pastor of Community Church of God in Christ, and I am the founder, that's in Far Rockaway, New York. I'm the founder of Next Dimension Tabernacle in Brooklyn, New York. and I'm also the presiding prelate and covering of Kingdom Impact Movement. And so, and actually, I have in addition to all of what we're doing, I am also the CEO of Kingdom Impact TV. So we're excited about some of the things that's going on right now, and excited about this topic and being your guest tonight.
I'm excited. We're gonna go deep in. First of all, I wanted to just share my story with discovering that Dr. Gurel was my mentor. I have been sitting under his leadership now for about 10 years. I just know that because I'll be married 10 years this year. So that's kind of how I keep track. Because Apostle Gurel was my husband's leader prior to me coming. And so prior to me coming to the ministry, I wanted to figure out what I needed to do in ministry, how I can work, how I can operate. And I started working directly for Dr. Gurel. Basically, I said, this is what I can do, and do you need someone who can do this? And he willingly accepted and kind of took me under his tutelage at that time, not just as my pastor, but as me serving the ministry. And I was given the opportunity to work with him directly as his executive assistant. So over the years, I would say I did not discover that he was my mentor until about 2-3 years ago. So at this point, we're at the 7-year mark or so. And I explained to him, and you guys, I'm gonna go in and out of calling him Apostle because that's what I call him. But about 3 years ago or so, I said to him, I was in desperate need of mentorship. I felt like that I was doing a lot. You guys know I'm a professional. I was working in ministry. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. And I felt like that I needed some type of mentorship to center me and to guide me into the correct direction that I needed to go. Because at that time, I felt like I was in all these different places and pulled into different areas, and I really didn't know where to go. So I went to Apostle and I said, I'm looking for a mentor. She needs to be a woman. She needs to be married. She needs to have kids. I mean, I had a list. I had a list of all these things she needed. Yeah. And so he says to me, okay, well, I'm going to pray and you pray. And let me know what God says. And I said, sure, no problem. So I came to him, guys, like 3 or 4 times with different names. I mean, I was seeking the Lord for real. And I came to him 3 or 4 times with a name. And every time I came to him with a name, he said, I don't know. Are you sure that's what God said? And I said, well, I'm not sure, but I feel like this would be a good person. And so one day, I wasn't even thinking about mentorship. I was just sitting on my bed, and the Lord spoke to me as clear as day and said, what you've been looking for, you already have. And he said, your apostle is your mentor. And the Lord started dropping in my spirit everything that I had been through and how, as a mentor, he led me onto the path. And just for instance, most of you guys know I am finishing up my dissertation. My apostle told me 11 years ago that I was to go back to school to get my doctorate degree. So that's just an example of what the Lord started showing me about some of the things that needed to happen and that did happen as apostle being my mentor. So basically my laundry list of stuff, none of that existed because he's married, but he's not a woman. He hasn't birthed it. Well, he's birthed children spiritually, but not naturally. And so I just wanted to share that because I really had an idea and I was fixated on what I thought a mentor should look like for me. So the first question that I wanted to go into with you, Apostle, is what is a mentor? Like, what does that look like?
Okay. Well, I think Coach Sharon, I like calling you that. So I'm going to just call you Doc. Dr. T. Well, basically, I think what we have in, I don't want to just say in the body of Christ because mentorship extends far beyond just the body of Christ. However, I think the crisis of not understanding the difference between mentors and leaders and spiritual parents and all of that. It does happen in the body of Christ. And the best way I can really paint this picture would be to look at your life structure as a mom, as if you're out there, your father, your husband, your wife, your children are your children. You are responsible for them to make sure that you take care of them. There are certain things you do for your children that you won't do for anybody else because these are your children. And you're responsible for making sure that you're guiding them in the way that they're supposed to go. And so we know that that has to do with parenting. You try to point them in the direction of their destiny, and you're responsible at that time until the Lord has released you of getting them to where they need to be. However, along that journey, you find yourself picking up godparents. Some people have 30 godparents. Some people only have 2 sets of godparents. However, these are people who assist that parent in the job of raising that child. As much as we pride ourselves in being good fathers and mothers, in order for you to become successful as a parent, you have to understand that you don't know it all. And because you don't know it all, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And so that's the best way I could describe it. A mentor is another teacher. The Bible says that we have many teachers, but few fathers. And so a mentor is a teacher, somebody that assists with the development without the same responsibility of perhaps the leader or the same responsibility of a spiritual parent. And so although it all works together and it sounds very close, there are distinct differences. So a mentor is responsible for maybe even a specific area. Everybody does not mentor overall. Some people are just maybe mentors in the area of business, or maybe a mentor in the area of parenting, different things like that. You have a list where you can say, okay, well, I need a mentor in this area, a mentor in that area. And so, there you have a mentor in a lot of cases have a targeted focus and a goal as it relates to the person that they are mentoring, the mentee or the protege, if you will. And so I believe that being a mentor means that you are a teacher. You are open to share your expertise in an area. What have you accomplished? And if that is your area of where you've become an expert in, for the lack of better words, you take and you mentor a person. If somebody looks at you and see, okay, this person is strong as a prophet, and every prophet may not sit under another prophet. Their pastor may not be a prophet, which that's a whole nother subject. Some believe that your pastor should be a prophet. I'm not getting into all that. I'm just answering the question. That's it. I'm just answering the question. But if that leader does not understand the walk of a prophet, you get a prophetic mentor, somebody that has been there, someone that has an experience in a particular area, and you're pouring into that individual to get them to their destined place. That's my definition.
That's actually a really good definition. And I say that because, you are and I call you my life mentor, kind of like my life coach. Because, and of course, if you guys don't know, Dr. Gurel is a certified life coach as well. So he really, truly does this. And so it's like every facet of my life you're able to speak to. And that's why I consider you my life mentor. I have a dissertation mentor or mentor for school. As you noted, there's different mentors for different things. However, when it comes to ministry, when it comes to just me being an African-American woman, when it comes to me raising boys, that at that point, you're pretty much able to speak to every area of my life and pour wisdom into those areas. And that's why, guys, I consider him my life mentor, my life coach, whatever you want to call it. Right. He is certified, but he's like an all-in-one for us. So I wanted to know at this time, why do you consider mentorship to be important?
Well, I believe that mentorship is important because um, who would want to be headed somewhere with no direction? A life without mentorship is like someone in a car just aimlessly driving. You have no GPS, you have no direction, you have no clear instruction, but you're just looking to find this particular destination. And so in my life, I've come across several people who are just aimlessly. I mean, they may have a aim, they want to achieve something, but they don't have the direction. And a lot of times it's because of fear, trusting people with that part of your life, because you don't believe that they're going to stir you in the right direction. Several reasons why a person would be reluctant as it relates to embracing a mentor. You could say, hey, I want to be a business owner. And you could say that every day, all day, but you need somebody that has been there that can tell you not only their successes, but to also deal with you about their pitfalls. A lot of times people are afraid to show you their scars in the journey. And so I believe a good mentor is someone that will show you their successes and their failures. Now, listen, don't go that route because I went this route and it took me all around unnecessarily, only to get me back to my starting point all over again. And so I believe mentorship is important because of the fact that many of us have so many desires and so many goals that we want to reach, but there's nobody to stop and tell us, listen, this is what you do to achieve that. And so I just believe that if you don't have mentorship, someone to teach you, someone to pour into you, someone to direct you, you're lost. You got to focus, but you have no direction.
Wow. That is so awesome. And I like the fact that you're really speaking about the relationship of it, because in this day and age of social media and famous people, people are calling people their mentors that they don't even have a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So the person doesn't personally know them. That person is not personally pouring into them. It's kind of like this person is the new one on the scene. So that's my mentor, where it's more as you see that person maybe as an inspiration, but that person isn't in the trenches with you. Right. And I think that's what happens a lot of times with people mixing up mentorship and what that really looks like, because it's like, oh, I like this person, or this person is doing kind of what I want to do. So now that's my mentor. And they believe that the mentor-mentee relationship is predicated on me following their page, me being a top fan, me being a sharer. And so I really wanted to dig deep into what is actually the responsibilities in the mentor-mentee relationship and what that looks like.
Okay. Well, let me start by saying this. There are different types of mentors. So there is a more distant type of mentorship, but I find that is not as successful. Like you have group mentorship where, you have a mentor that is there to teach a group or a class or something like that. And you may be able to ask a question here or there, but that is not up close and personal. And so you have that one-on-one mentorship, which is the mentorship we're speaking about today, that most people would benefit from, because that person, as you stated, gets in the trenches with you. That individual can actually deal with some things on a more personal level. Now, the question that you asked with mentorship, the responsibilities of the mentor or mentee relationship. Number one, to create an environment of safety. Okay, an environment of safety. I believe that that's the beginning of any type of relationship, especially because there are many people that are out there that have been wounded, they have been hurt, and there are some sensitive places that mentor has to deal with. And so an environment of safety and trust is what's important. And I believe that it's reciprocal. It's not just on one end, where I got to just trust my mentor and that's it. But your mentor has to be able to trust you as well. Are you a trustworthy individual for me to even allow you in my space to
right.
be an up close and personal mentor? because
Right.
there's some people, and I know that some people watching this might not like it, but I'm gonna deal with it anyway. There's some people you have to keep at bay. There's some
Right.
people, even in your mentorship, you cannot pull them in too close because doing that would be critical, you know. And so that's a whole nother live, a whole nother discussion, you know. And so I believe an environment of safety, creating an environment of trust and loyalty is really important. I believe that that is something that a word that we hear thrown around so much, but not practiced as much as we say it. Because people are always saying, oh, you got to be loyal, you got to be loyal, you got to be loyal. But we
Right.
don't practice it as much as we say it. And if we practice that loyalty as much as we say it, then I believe a lot of relations, there would be a lot less people walking around wounded and hurt and bruised and battered if we
Right.
practice that loyalty. And so I believe that there is a responsibility on both ends to make sure that that environment of trust, of safety, of loyalty is kept, and of course, accountability. I believe that a mentor has to be accountable as well as the mentee or the protege. And the reason why I say this is because who wants a mentor that you can never get an answer from?
Never.
Who wants a mentor that, you know, I'm just that by title or by name, but I'm not accessible. And so I have to have a certain level of accountability. And then if you call me your mentor, you have to be willing to be accountable to me as well. Because me personally, I'm the type of in your face mentor. Y'all see how close I am right now? I'm an in
That's
your
him.
face. Don't look at my shave marks. I had a little
That's
action.
him, y'all.
Um,
That's him.
but I am that up close and personal mentor where I'm in your face. I'm one of those people that say, "Hey, listen, let me call you to the carpet for a moment. Let's talk about this because there's something going on that I don't think is in your best interest." And so, a mentor and a mentee cannot be, and this is on both parts. You can't be a yes man or a yes woman. You have to be willing to share what you're feeling and share what your dislikes, your likes, what you understand, what you don't understand. Because a lot of times people consider mentorship, I'm gonna tell you what to do, you do it, that's it. You have no questions. You don't learn with that type of relationship. There's some questions that if you don't agree, speak about that. If there's something that you don't understand, speak about that. Number one, it builds a healthy relationship. Whenever we can go through a moment where we're not in agreement and we can actually hash that out, have that discussion, have that conversation, it builds such a greater bond because that builds an understanding, that builds a trust, and that builds a security that cannot be mimicked by a fake relationship or a pretentious
Right.
relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that these are a few things. I mean, I could go on and on as it relates to what is expected from a mentee or a mentor and what makes that relationship work. Know me, feel me, know what's happening, know what's going on with me. Because if in fact I'm supposed to be up close and personal, I shouldn't be missing so many important moments in your life, and vice versa. If I'm your mentor, we can pull out so many examples of that type of relationship. Where I go, if you really trying to get there, come and see how I got there. Relationship is important. You got to know who you're dealing with. You have to know who you're allowing to speak in your life. You have to know who you're in relationship with. And so that relationship, that covenant, that relationship is definitely important.
I just want to speak about from a mentee standpoint, because I think a lot of times too, mentees sometimes feel like that my mentor should chase after me. Like you should try to see what I'm doing. And that's not it at all. You're trying to get something from the mentor. So because you're in pursuit of something, that means you need to pursue the mentor.
Can I
You need to make yourself available. Yes, Apostle.
I want to say something about that. People want the chase. They love the feeling of the chase. I am not chasing you to be in a crazy type of relationship with you. If you want my time, if you want if you want what it is that I have, then you have to pursue that person. I do have something that I want, and I know that we don't like that, because we want people, we like to threaten them. Well, if you don't do this and you don't do, I'm gonna walk. Well, go ahead and walk. I'm the wrong person to say. I'm the wrong person to say that. So go ahead. I do one of these numbers. Go ahead. Because at the end of the day, I'm not seeking to date you. I'm not looking to marry you. You got that type of relationship mixed up. Your husband or somebody you're looking to be in an intimate relationship with, that's where the chase come in. But if there's something that you see that I have to offer, if there's something that you are looking to gain, then that means that you got to be where I am. That means that you got to come after that knowledge. I'm trying not to take it from a biblical standpoint, because I know that this subject is not reserved just for the Christian people that are watching, but it's also
let the Lord lead you, Apostle.
It's also for people that are in business. So I'm trying to, have a balance.
Let the Lord lead you.
But I can call witnesses from the Bible. Look at Elijah and Elisha, or Elisha, however you want to pronounce their name. Whenever he was after something from who was his spiritual father, his mentor, his teacher, every time Elijah wanted to leave him behind. If you look at that story, every time Elijah wanted to leave him behind, Elisha was saying, "No, where you going? I'm going. I'm out. You out, I'm out. Your God is going to be my God. Where you go, I want to go." Because he asked the question. He really wanted to know, how can I get a double portion of what you have? What I see that you have is so great. I want more of that. How can I get it? And the answer came, surely if you see me when I'm taken up. And so that means that I don't know when you're going to be taken up. I don't know when this moment is going to happen. And so I have to chase the moment. And so whenever you want something that bad, you've got to learn, you can't be ashamed to go after that moment. Let me chase that moment, because there's something that I see that I need to grab a hold of. I'm not saying go and sleep under your mentor's bed, because that's insanity. That's that's insanity. Don't be hiding out in my basement, because you get hurt doing some crazy stuff like that. I'm not talking about be stalkish, but I'm talking about let me go after this. I need to spend time with you. Can I say this? And I'm gonna stop talking because I'm long-winded.
This is your moment. We gonna talk. This is what this is for.
I'm trying to say.
This is what this is for.
Now, here's the thing. There are most great lessons that you are going to learn from the person that is set for your life. A lot of times it won't even come from what I say out of my mouth.
Right.
Sometimes it will come from those moments that would appear to be accidental. You can gain more just from being around a person than sometimes even conversing with that individual. Being there, being in that moment can also be one of the greatest teachers of your life. And so you cannot be ashamed or afraid to go after the moment. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I think. If you want it, I shouldn't have to call you 100 times and you don't call me back. I shouldn't have to text you off the hook and you don't text back. I'm the kind of person, if I'm doing that and I notice I'm not getting a response, I got so much going on in my life, then the next time you're going to hear from me is when you decide that you're going to respond to that first call that I made 3 months ago. 3 months ago, that's the time you should have responded, And so I'm not into the chase, and it's really quite the opposite. So I'm glad you said that, Sharon, because I believe that is important. If you want something bad enough, you go after it, because you're not idolizing that person, but you're understanding the person's position in your life.
Exactly. And I wanted to talk about, too, the fact that a lot of times, and of course, you being the mentor and me being the mentee, my goal with dealing with my mentor is for him to see in me based on my actions and how I live my life, that what he has poured into me actually is an action.
Absolutely.
And so I think as a mentee, it's really discouraging to a mentor who does take the time to spend time with you, constantly pouring into you, giving you direction and instruction, and it just seems like they're wasting their breath.
Right.
And then we get, oh, what's going on? Like people don't get discouraged. And I wanted to talk about that too, how mentors can really become discouraged based on our actions as mentees. That you told me not to touch the pot. You tell me not to touch the pot. You keep telling me not to touch the pot. And I'm like, not only am I going to touch the pot, I'm going to tell you I touched the pot and I'm going to tell you why. And then when it burns, you're going to say, see, it burned. And I'm going to say, but you should have told me this way, not to touch the pot.
Those type of relationships can be quite draining. And let me explain why. And a mentor and a mentee sometimes need a moment to catch their breath. As much as and I find this being the issue, and I'm going to paint this picture. Most of the time, the mentee wants to be seen, while that is the struggle of the mentee. The struggle of the mentor is the fact that the mentor wants to be heard. You understand what I'm saying? The mentee wants to be seen, and the mentor wants to be heard. And so, if in fact that mentor is taking time to share, and because I'm not going to give you something that I don't consider valuable. These are things that I've learned through trial and error. These are things that I've learned through much tears, and a lot of laughing, a lot of smiling, because I don't only want to paint the picture of the downside. God will has a way of teaching us lessons where we laugh, other lessons where we cry, but all in all, it is still valuable nuggets. When it seems that when somebody is giving you something and you're not hearing, or you're not listening, or you're taking it as if it's not valuable, how would you feel if you went and spent so much money? Just use that as an example. So much money on a piece of jewelry that you guarded, you polished, you put it away nicely, and then you said, listen, I'm going to give this as a gift to someone because of my love for them, how I feel about them. You hand it to them, they drop it on the floor and stomp on it. It'll leave you feeling like, wait a minute, what just happened here? This is something that I cherished and I gave to you as a token of our covenant or our relationship, and you took it as something that was not valuable. And so there are many people out here that are bashing. Let me just put it out there. You bash your leader, you bash your mama, your daddy, your mentor, your aunt, your uncle, anybody that had any type of hand in your upbringing or impartation or any of these things. But what we won't do is tell the truth that these people tried with us, but we did not hear. We did not take heed. We did not listen. And so it's easy for us to complain. Well, they won't take me under their wing like they used to. First of all, when that trust has been tainted,
yes,
you don't come back with the same place, the same position in a lot of cases. You gotta prove that you really want this type of relationship. This is something. Now, of course, for those that are super deep, you want to talk about the prodigal son, where he came and he got more than what he had and all of those things. But that's after a lesson that he learned. The Bible says that he came to himself. There are some people that come back because they didn't find anybody willing to put up with them. It wasn't because they learned a lesson. It was just that you found that nobody else cared. You found that nobody else was willing to deal with what you were bringing. And so somebody who learns a lesson, you can embrace them and bring them close. But then there are others that'll go here, go there. One moment I'm your mentor, next moment I'm not. When I'm, here's the next part. Sometimes we switch and we go against mentorship because we have a problem with leadership. We have a problem with being told something or being taught something, and you are not a candidate to be a mentee if you have not become a student. Sometimes becoming a student means I'm gonna lay down everything that I know so that you can teach me again. Tell everything that I gained. I'm gonna put that to the side for a moment. I need this moment right here where you can pour into me about this subject again, because when you're unteachable and you are so puffed up and prideful, you're not going to be successful in these type of relationships. So most of these people are low key rebels, people that don't want any type of leadership, no type of guidance, no type of anything. Then what is it? Do you want my name or do you want my wisdom? Which one? You know.
Wait, that's a T-shirt, Apostle. Hold up. Do you want my name or do you want my wisdom?
Yeah. So that's basically where it is. And so sometimes it can be discouraging. Mentors do get discouraged. People do wind up, losing heart. And we think that mentors, both men and women, are Superman, Superwoman, but sometimes they need a moment too. We experience levels of disappointment as well that we have to now find out how to process.
That is so good. And I love the fact that you talked about the trust, because earlier on in our relationship, because I had trust issues growing up, it was hard for me to connect with Apostle. And he said, hold up, we're not gelling. We're not connecting. And this was even before the Lord told me he was my mentor. But he said to me, we're not gelling and we're not connecting. And I had to go back and say, okay, what is my problem? Because he's allowing me to be in his face. He's pouring into me. He's giving me wisdom. He's giving me instruction. And I think I'm taking it in. But clearly there was a disconnect. And that disconnect wasn't from the mentor. That disconnect was because I had trust issues. So, of course, I didn't have a relationship with my father. So that was a whole nother issue, because I didn't have a male figure that I trusted that wasn't going to run or leave me. I had to learn that first before I could really even identify him as my mentor. And I think that's something as mentees, we really, when you want to be mentored, you really have to look in yourself, as he said, to see, one, are you ready to be taught? Are you ready to be a student? Because by the time I met Apostle Gurel, I already had a master's degree. I was a supervisor. I'm running around telling people what to do. And my character sucked. That's just basically the simplest way to put it. I was the roll your neck, I could tell you off in 5 seconds person.
Yes, you were.
Had delivered me from cussing, but then I could tell you off in plain English.
Yeah.
So because of that or whatever, I had to, like he said, unlearn everything that I knew as an adult and said, okay, what do I need to learn in order for me to get where God wants me to go? Because really, that's what this is really about. It's not about somebody just telling you what to do, somebody guiding you along. It's really about getting you to purpose. A mentor, whether it's a business mentor, a spiritual mentor, a life coach, this person is working with you to get you to purpose. And so if you're not willing to examine yourself and look in and make changes and unlearn some of the things that you've been taught, that you think are right, that may be actually wrong. Like, I wouldn't be on a live today having a conversation with people if I didn't if I didn't get my character in check, if I didn't realize that I was abrasive when I spoke to people. Those are things that I had to learn under your mentorship in order for me to get to a place where people wanted to hear me. And can you imagine if I got to a place where I said, you know what, when he telling me I'm grown, I can do what I want to do, then I could have prohibited my influence.
Right.
By not getting myself together.
Right. I can, as you're talking, it brings me back to one of the degrees that I studied for. And part of that degree, and I always refer back to this because it was so helpful even in my development, and that is creative presentation. And I took that course, and it helped me look at me better. Because one of the things that I want people to understand is this: that you can have all of the goods, but you don't present it right. like for instance, you can, and I used this before. So act like this is your first time hearing it, Sharon. I'm going to give it to you.
Right. All right.
Okay. I used it before. Act like this is the first time you hear it. Now, when you're preparing a meal, you can put all of the right ingredients in that meal. You can have the right amount of seasoning, the right amount of this, right amount of that, and then you take and slop it up on a plate. And you go to hand it to someone, and unless that person is extremely greedy, they're not going to eat it because they can't make out what it is. You understand what I'm saying? And so we can have all of the goods, but present it wrong. Now, if you take and that same meal and you proportion it correctly, you dress the plate the right way. See, some people have the goods, but nobody can deal with your attitude. You have good, but there's nobody that can tell you about your disposition. You can have all of the good. So it was funny that you mentioned how you had the degree, you were a supervisor, but you had a very bad attitude. You felt like your character was, not in place. And so that's where indeed a mentor comes in. Now here's the flip of it all. Sometimes people, not saying Coach Sharon, she's definitely awesome. She's awesome. I'm not talking about her, but let's just talk in general. Some people, they don't listen to anybody that they feel have less than them. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to approach them. Most of the time, these people want to know, well, do you even have anything to be able to tell me something? So there's a responsibility of a mentor to keep learning themselves. And so people make fun of me. My daughter's probably still watching. They say he got all of these papers. He got all these degrees.
He got 10 degrees. He got 10.
But you know why I continue to study? I continue to study because I'm responsible for more than just me. I have to keep going, because if I'm going to be able to share with someone at a level where they can relate, or have something for people to aspire to, then there's got to be something I got to present. Listen, I know what I'm talking about because I've been here, been there. I encountered that. I've experienced that. A lot of times, I heard somebody say before, and they said, does these people have more than you? And the person answered no. They said, don't listen to them. I heard statements like that said before. And so at the end of the day, you have to know that who you're in covenant with can tell you, listen, you got the goods. However, if you change, because I'm a people person, that's my line of work, that's my business, that's what I do. I deal with people. If in fact you're going to be successful, you have to be able to be relatable, and people have to be able to also connect with you on a level. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to go to dinner, but at least be approachable. In creative presentation, they gave this example of two people doing a presentation. They're doing a class. They have the exact same information. However, one came in the classroom and they were well put together. They were structured well. They came in early. They set up their workstation. As the people came in, they greeted the people. They were talking to the people. And the people was receptive to that individual. Here, there's another person who did the exact same class, but they came in late. They were kind of like coming in like, just barely making it. And they didn't take time to greet the people. It was the same information, but the people were closed to them. You got to understand that presentation is how people will determine whether or not people receive you or they reject you. And so I understood where Coach Sharon was when we connected, because I too had trust issues in the past. I also did not have my father in my life. And so when I recognized that there was a wall built, see, people will wonder, well, how do I know who's my mentor? This individual will see you. This individual will know how to reach you. this individual, and this was so powerful in one of my conversations with Sharon, where someone said, I know how you learn. A mentor should know how you learn. They should learn, they should know how you retain information. And so I was able to connect with Sharon on a level that made her, because most people that had an attitude issue or disposition, you tell them, I don't see why we're not clicking, what's going on. They're going, I don't know. The problem is with you. It ain't with me because I'm here. You know how people get hood. I can't do the neck rolling because it won't work. But I don't have the neck, y'all. And so, but you know how people get the toot and the, it ain't me. And that's somebody who is unteachable. But when you know the voice of a mentor, and in her case, a leader, that's and you go back and you check that's how you know that you have a mentor. A lot of times those individuals can kind of check you in a way that other people can't, and reach you in a way that other people can't. There mentors that I've had in my life. There were, these were individuals that can call me to the carpet in a way that the average person couldn't call me to the carpet. And I was able to hear them. I was able to learn from them and say, you know what? Let me shift this. Let me shift my response, how I operate, what I say, what I do, because you can have all of the knowledge, but your presentation not be right.
That is so important. And I just wanted to touch on how you said knowing who the mentor is because growing up, even when I got married, my husband says, you act like a dude. And it wasn't because I acted like a dude. It was my mentality, how I envisioned, how I thought of things, how I was able to make decisions without being emotional. And a lot of times that's connected to women. So it was funny that I'm looking for a mentor who's nothing like me in a sense, because I'm not considered emotional. I'm a very rational thinker. I have emotional times, but I really try to dissect the situation as most men do. And I'm a fixer. So when I hear something, I'm immediately like, well, what's the solution? That's how men think. So I'm running after looking for a female mentor because I'm a woman, not realizing that person wasn't going to be able to connect with me because their whole thought process was off. So if I say something that may come across as, you know what, I don't understand, or I'm not getting it, and you start getting emotional with me, I'm like, what's wrong with you? I just said I don't agree with something, or it doesn't make sense to me, or whatever. And so that is just so important in trying to identify who your mentor is, because your mentor, there has to be some likeness and some characteristics. You can't go get a mentor that is nothing like you. I really just don't understand that now that I've been through that. Because again, I'm telling you, I was like, she got to be this, she got to be that. But the minute she had to get an attitude or start crying, or all of a sudden she acting flaky, I'm like, oh, I don't have time for that. I did that growing up. Women was not like, the minute you start doing all of that, I'm like, you know what? It's over. But when you're thinking about that, and those who are out there seeking mentorship, really think about the people who are in your life. Think about the people who are in your sphere of influence, and really think about who do you have that type of connection with, who gives you wisdom. And again, wisdom, not advice, because they're two different things. Who gives you wisdom and instruction. And then from there, try to figure those things out. Because I could have been with somebody who was a total emotional wreck. And Apostle is nothing like that. And I can say something to him and he gets straight to the meat of the matter without taking it personal.
Right.
And so one of the questions that came through was, why do people, so this is from a mentor standpoint. The mentor is saying, I'm seeking someone out, and I'm like, hey, let me mentor you. And the mentee automatically becomes defensive. So it's like, I see some things in you, and, I want to help you out. And then all of a sudden, the mentee, why do they become defensive?
Well, there could be a number of reasons why. One of those reasons could be that you're approaching a person who feels like they got it all together. They don't need they've got everything in place. They've dotted every I, they've crossed every T, and they don't want help. And then two, you got to understand that people, which we've repeated several times tonight, and I think it's necessary to repeat again, that some people have a choice. They want to choose who their mentor is, and they're sometimes in their picking and their selection, it is not the best fit for their life. You know, it's like somebody who has gained 200 pounds trying to put on something that you wore 10 years ago. And so these
I'm
people,
sorry, I had a visual.
you know, these people, let me just say this. This is our relationship. I just want y'all to know this is not pretentious. It's not, this is what we do. We be in the middle of a conversation and just laugh. But you know, trying to fit something that no longer fits. And so people have in their mind who they want. And so it's okay. I get it. I understand because you have standards. That's great. However, in that, be open for who God wants to put. These are for my saved brothers and sisters, and even those of you that have not come into the knowledge of Christ yet. You have to find the fit for your destiny, where you're going. Who is it that can help you? Who's got the information? And so sometimes people feel that they're too big for a mentor. They don't need teaching. Also, as the mentor, examine your approach to them, you know, because approach is everything, you know. So sometimes it's not always the mentee, sometimes it's the mentor. How did you approach them? Now, if you did everything well, that's fine, but this is for somebody who may need to look at that again. Your approach means everything. And so it could be that. It's a number of reasons why somebody is offended. So there were people who I had in my life, and I was trying to share helpful information with about schooling and everything like that, and they took it personally. The next thing I want to say to a mentor is to see deeper than what is being presented to you. Sometimes people felt like all their lives that people said that they were dumb, they were stupid, you know, they'll never be anything, they won't learn. Some people have been used to being verbally abused and emotionally abused and all of these things. And so what you presenting this to them, sometimes their anger is not even personal. Sometimes you're hitting a spot that is still sore. Sometimes it's still a place of pain for them. And so I've made a suggestion. And one of the young men that I was mentoring actually came back to me and he apologized. He said, I felt like you were saying I wasn't good enough. I felt like you were saying that, you know, I didn't do well and all of those things. I said, no, that's not what I was saying at all. And we were able to communicate and to talk. So I want you to, if you're really that person's mentor, sometimes you got to learn how to see deeper than what's being presented to you. One of the things that Sharon shared with us on tonight was that I am not a super sensitive person. I'm not one of those people that every moment, you know, I'm offended by something. I'm upset about something. I'm one of those people, let's get an understanding. Let's reason together. And in some cases, if you're going to mentor, you sometimes have to get to the root of the problem. Why is this person having a struggle with development? What is it that is keeping them from developing in this area? You know, why is it that they have not gone past this certain level in so long? A lot of times it's not because they don't have the willingness. A lot of times that they have wounds that have never been patched, you know, and so the way they receive it from you could sound like something totally different. And so you're not ready to be anybody's mentor, or flip it, you're not ready to be a mentee until you're able to handle the difficult points of a person's life. A mentor is going to rub you the wrong way. A mentor is going to make you angry. A mentor is going to leave you upset. But then at the end of the day, when you sit and think about what they were talking about, you start realizing that this was a necessary discussion. This was necessary to have. And if I'm going to be responsible for helping you get to a certain place, then that means that you're going to have to trust me with that bloody area, that area of your life where you have been stabbed over and over again repeatedly, and let me stitch you. Because in most cases, 9 times out of 10, I've been there myself. And so you don't trust everybody with an open wound. You don't trust them with that, And so I think that is one of the main issues. So there's several ways of viewing why someone would become defensive or offended by us asking or coming to that individual about mentorship.
Mhm. Well, I can speak from, and for those of you who were on at the beginning, I talked about how I came to the revelation that Apostle was my mentor. And like I said, I was having conversations with him, and he never said out of his mouth that he was my mentor. And by the time I went back to him and I said, the Lord revealed to me that it's you, he laughed at me, y'all. He laughed and he said, oh, so I guess he answered you. And he also said to me, he knew all along. The fact that he didn't tell me and I was able to figure it out on my own made me one, trust me. Because a lot of times someone can come to you as the mentor and say, hey, I'm supposed to mentor you. But because you, again, have your own issues and you don't know if you're doing things the right way, you've made a lot of mistakes. You connected to a lot of the wrong people. You connected to people, you trusted them. They told your business. So I was in the mindset of, no, I really did need to hear from God. And honestly, because of the fact that I had an opportunity to hear it for myself, and then come back and say it, it made me so much more confident in who I was in God and who God created me to be. And the fact that that was a path that I was able to walk on, but really by myself, with him guiding, of course. And he said to me all of the time, I'm in prayer with you. The Lord will reveal it to you. He just kept encouraging me to go back. And I think that's probably the thing too, that it's great for a mentor to just step out and say, hey, let me mentor you, depending on what the area is. But a lot of times, because the areas that we need to be mentored in are areas where we're insecure already.
Yeah.
That's an area that I'm not going to just share with anybody else. I'm not going to become vulnerable to someone and then you take advantage of my vulnerability. And so when I was there, it was, I figured this out on my own.
Mm-hmm. I think it's twofold, because I believe that there are cases where it is necessary for you to figure out who God has sent. But then there's also the flip side. Some people will never approach a mentor. And so it depends on that personality, because some people will, you need mentorship, but you'll never ask. You'll never. Fortunately enough for me, because I'm that type of individual, the Lord knows how to do everything with each one of us. He knows our personalities, our hang-ups, different things like that. But I've never asked really to mentor anybody. If I did, it had to be maybe once or twice that I do not remember at all, because I don't ask. However, in some instances, I won't say that it's not necessary to approach an individual, because some people, you got to know who you're dealing with. Some people, because it is so sensitive, will never ask, and they will die with potential. Potential, we hear, oh, potential, and we consider that the good thing. The good thing is not, oh, that you got potential. The good part of potential is when you put yourself intentionally in a place where you can maximize that potential and become, don't just die with potential and never become. You've got to become that thing that God wants you to be. And it takes that right person to deal with that moment where your potential is not enough, because you're not passing this hurdle. You're not passing this issue. This is a sore spot for you, and you got all the potential in the world, but you come to a block in the road. but know who God has placed in your life to get you to become.
Wow. That's good that you talked about that blockage because I believe our last question for this evening is why my mentor doesn't push me. It feels like my mentor is holding me back. Why is that?
Now this one is going to be a very challenging answer, because it's going to come with several things that we've got to look at. Number one, a lot of times we want things that we're not ready for, and so a mentor can see sometimes that you're not ready. You know, you could say, "Oh, uh, I feel like this is what I should be doing now. This is what should." A mentor should not be a yes person to everything you say. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go for it. Yeah, do it, do it, do it. And knowing that sending you out there is going to result in more pain or you crashing. You know, if I know that you're not ready for something, sometimes it's best that I not push you forward into that until you are finished being processed enough to be able to handle it. Because with success comes different hurdles, comes some disappointments. Anybody that is successful will tell you that their success first resulted in failure. You went after it, it didn't work. You went after it, your feelings were crushed. You went after it. And so maybe there are some things that are in you that you're not ready for. Now, here is the next hard truth. The next hard truth is sometimes that person may not be your mentor. They may not be your mentor. And so now you have to ask yourself these two hard questions. One, am I not ready? Is that one of the reasons? This is why an open relationship where you can communicate with that person is important. Because let me tell you one thing about those of y'all that are going to keep watching Coach Sharon, please keep watching. Go come back the next time you see something posted. Come back, support it, push it. Those of you that are watching, this is helpful information. Take and share it because it is definitely going to be helpful. One of the reasons why I immediately agreed, because I will tell you, I don't say yes to everything, but I immediately agreed because I know Sharon. I know she's one of those individuals. Please tell me. I don't want to. I don't want to be. I don't want to be left guessing. Did I handle this right? Did I do this right? And one thing she is consistently asking that if somebody has a problem, not me. I'm just talking. This is how she is in general. If you have a problem with me, don't assume that I know. I'd rather you just come right out and tell me what the issue is. And so you have to be an upfront person. You have to be direct when you deal with Coach Sharon. She is not one of those people that, like to beat around the bush. And I'm the same way. That's one of the reasons why we get along. Just give it to me straight. Um, that's why a relationship, you have to be able to communicate with that person. Because if that is how you're feeling, before I can say, oh, they're not the one, the first question I have for you is, did you go back and did you tell them how you felt? Because a lot of times, I say this all the time, even a criminal knows what they're being charged with. You can't charge a criminal and they not know why you're holding them, why they're in prison. You have to tell them what they're being charged with. And sometimes we expect people to know everything about us, and we expect them to just know how we're feeling. So, sometimes it is your responsibility. There are times that Sharon don't have to tell me because she knows the Lord is going to deal with me about it. He's going to speak to me about it. And there are those situations where she said, if he does not speak to him about it, then it's not anything I need to have a discussion about. But then there are other things where she'll come to me and she'll bring it to me. Some things you have to be open enough with that individual to say, did I handle this wrong? And she's that kind of individual. Did I handle? So any of y'all being mentored by her, please just come direct. You're gonna rub her the wrong way if you're not direct. Come, bring this to your mentor and say, listen, I feel like you're not pushing me. Is there a reason? Is there something that I'm missing, something that I'm not noticing? And if you have not done that, before you charge it to them, before you blame them or you get upset with them, think about the fact that you had a responsibility in that relationship as well. And that was to be open and honest with that individual. Okay. So that's the best advice that I could give. But then
That's
after that, then those next questions come up. Am I ready? And then the next question, are they even a mentor? Does your mentor even see where God wants to take you? I can't teach you or lead you anywhere or mentor you in an area that I don't even know where you're headed. I don't know where you're going. Then we're both it's like the blind leading the blind. I have to be able to look at you and see that there's worth, there's greatness, that this is what God wants for you. And most mentors are committed, that you should be. And I'm gonna stop talking after this. You should be committed to the
yeah.
success of that mentee or that protege. It should be such a commitment until you feel the urgency. I got to give them this. I got to give them that so that they can move forward and become.
That is so awesome, Apostle. See, guys, that's why I'm considered his favorite. And they say I don't get in trouble. That's because when I know I did something wrong, I'll call. Can I talk to you for a minute? Because I don't want to get it in front of people. I'd rather get it on the phone
Right.
or ask, can I see him in the office?
You're right.
So that's why a lot of you who are watching, who he mentors and all of that, that's why I'm considered the favorite and that I never get in trouble. But that is because when I have an inkling that I've done something, or if he gives you the Dr. Garrell look,
Yeah.
I immediately go.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting. I don't even wait 24 hours.
No.
I immediately send a text message. I send an inbox.
Yes.
I'm like, listen, is everything okay? Did I handle that all right? Was I a little rude?
Mhm.
Did I do this? Did I do that? Because as he stated, I rather know because it will eat me alive. I can't take it. I
Mhm.
cannot take it. If my mentor, if my leader is irritated with me, I can't take it. Like that
Mhm.
thing eats me up inside. Like my day is bad. I can't eat. I can't sleep.
Yes,
And I
you
need to eat. So
go through
so
it.
I say that to say I immediately run and try to figure it out so I can fix it so then we can move forward because a lot of times you will be stuck somewhere because you don't have the conversation.
True.
I am so honored, Apostle, that you came on tonight.
Thank
Guys,
you.
we are going to do a part two because we didn't get to a lot of the things we wanted to get to. But I am so excited and I'm so honored, Apostle, that you took the time out. You guys, you don't understand. I know because I keep his books. He's a very busy man and he mentors a lot of people in different areas and different levels. And the fact that he had an opportunity to come share with us, I am honored and I am grateful that he had an opportunity to come share with us. I just wanted to let you guys know that my mentor has a television program, a whole station. You can watch him on Kingdom Impact TV on Roku. You can go search it now, put it in your favorites, or you can watch it online at kingdomimpacttv.com. You do not want to miss the programming. The entire station is his. So you can see multiple programs. There's things up there for kids. There's things in regards to business. There's actually his wife, who is an awesome worshiper. There's worship with Yolanda, where she's on there talking to different men and women who are worship leaders who truly live a life of worship. So I tell you, go get it. Again, that is Kingdom Impact TV on Roku, or you can watch online if you don't have Roku at kingdomimpacttv.com. We're just excited that you guys were able to tune in with us today. I just wanted to let you know that for next week, what we have coming up is our doctor, and it should come up. Great. Our Dr. Cheryl Hardy. We're going to be talking about next week leadership Grief and the Church.
Wow.
So next week, tune in, which is the 29th at 7 p.m. It is Dr. Cheryl Hardy. For you guys who've been tuning in all month, we've had a doctor every single Monday night. And I am grateful that we've had experts in their field. Dr. Gurel is an expert in a lot of different things. We're going to have him here to talk about some other things. But the fact that we've been able to have experts come on and share their expertise with us, I'm just truly honored. Again, next week, we're going to talk about leadership, grief, and the church. You do not want to miss it. I am sure it's going to be awesome, especially for pastors and leaders who are dealing with grief, because a lot of times, especially with everything that's going on, we forget the leader. We expect the leader to rise to every occasion. We expect the leader to be there. You know, your son died, your daughter died. We know a lot has happened, but a lot has happened in the lives of leaders during this past season as well, as we get ready to move out. And so I want to make sure that you're available. Tell your leader, tell anyone who's a leader in the ministry, who's just trying to get through, to tune in next week. Again, I want to thank you, Apostle, for coming on and being with us. I just want to let you know the people are saying excellent teaching, great information. Thank you, Brian McNeil, for that. We've had an awesome audience. Again, you guys, you can like, you can share this information, do some watch parties, because this is awesome information about the importance of mentorship, and everybody needs someone to help lead them to purpose. So God bless you guys. Have a great night. We look forward to seeing you again. Dr. Gurel will be back, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care. Bye.